Hi everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, we are going to learn a bit more about strings in Python. So we already know that string works as a data type in Python. Apart from that, string is also a data structure in Python. So what do I mean by that? You can consider that a string is essentially a sequence of characters. So this string here you see, Analytics is creating next generation data science ecosystem, can be considered as just a sequence of these characters. It is A, N, A, L, Y, T, I, C, S, and so on. So because a string has that kind of nature in Python, there are a lot of functions that are inbuilt in Python that you can do on the strings. Let's see. So this is our string. Let's run this. Now, if you want to calculate the length of the string, you can use the length function and you can have all the number of characters present, including the spaces. So this is something we have already know. Now the interesting thing is that just like a list, you can also find the characters at individual places inside the string using the index. So the character at 0, as you see here, A, and when you run this, you will see it's A. And for at 1, we have N, for at 2, we have A, and so on. This is very similar kind of ordering as we have seen in list. So if you say 3, what will happen? It's going to give us L. The reason is because 0 here, 0 is A, N is 1, and then 2, and L is 3. So because you can use indexing, you can also use negative indexing. The last character, as you see here, is M. Therefore, if you use here -1, then you will get the character M. You can also do slicing in the string, just like we used to do in list. And if you want to reverse the entire string, you can use the same slicing technique. And here, reversing a string. And once you do that, you will see all characters are reversed. So we have ecosystem, and now instead we have METSYS-OCE and so on. It was a string from left to right. When you are doing this, you are actually taking it from right to left. And we are getting MTSYS-OCE. And that's exactly what we are getting here. So again, here is our string. And you can also count the number of characters in the string. So for example, you want to calculate the number of lowercase a. When you run this code, you will find out it's 5. So you want to calculate the capital A, and you will get 1. The reason for that is Python is case sensitive, as we already know. So lowercase a and capital A are two different characters according to Python. So suppose you have created this substring using string slicing in Python. Now even on this substring you can perform the count operation. So let's calculate the number of lowercase a in the substring, and we have only 4. Similarly, you want to calculate in the entire string how many ENs are, and as you see there are only 2, and one is here. If you check it, it's in generation, and the second one is in science. So the next function is find function. Find function in string is going to find a certain word. For example, using my string, and you want to find the word next, the find function gives you the index of word next. And if you instead try to find Python, you will get an index of -1 as output. Here you can see the index function. It works like the find function. If you use instead of find index, you will get again where the index of next the word starts. And if you do the same thing for Python, it will give an error. So now both of these functions can be preferable based on what kind of project you are making. Sometimes you may want to program to explicitly raise an error, so that's easier to debug using the index function. Here we are seeing that substring is not found as an error. You exactly know what is wrong in your program. Sometimes you don't want it to always give an error, but just return something that gives you an indication that this word does not exist. And then you will use the find function, because find function, if the word doesn't exist, will give you the index of -1. So the choice is entirely up to you. Going forward, there are two interesting functions with string known as start with or ends with. As the name suggests, given your string, my underscore string, you want to see whether it starts with Python. And when you run this, you will see that it's false. And the next you want to check whether it ends with system. And when you run this, it will give you true because that string ends with system. And next you want to see whether your string starts with Python And then let's run this, and it's again giving you false. And here you want to see whether your string starts with analytics, and you run this, it also gives false. So here the reason is because analytics in the original string starts with capital A, but we are using lowercase a here, and we know that in Python everything is case sensitive. So if we convert this lowercase a to capital A and run this function again, you'll see it turns to true. So here you have to be careful because case sensitive property of Python is very important. So next you have again my underscore strings. Some characters are capital and some characters are lowercase in the string, and you want to convert all the letters to capital, so you can use the upper function. Let's run this. As you see, all the characters now capital. Now you want to convert the string to a proper case. That means the first word should be capital and everything else is lower. So we can use capitalize, and then it turns out to be the first letter is capital. Suppose next you want to check whether the string is lowercase or uppercase. You can use is lower or is upper function. So let me show this, and again we are using my string, and now we are going to run this, and it says it's false because obviously not all characters are lower in the string. And is upper is going to be false too because not all characters are uppercase. Now you can also check whether a string is numeric, alphanumeric, or just alphabetical at all. So let's see. Here the first one is numeric, so is numeric is going to turn into true. The second one is alphanumeric because you have numbers and characters, so is numeric function turns out to be false. Python, as you see here, all alphabetic, so therefore when you run this you will get true. 121 AS has both alphabetic characters and numbers, so this should be false. But if you run instead is alphanum function, it gives us true. And here string data analytics, and let's run this and see if this string is alpha. It's true because all characters are alphabetic. But if you have a space between data analytics, let's run the string and check whether it's alpha, it turns out to be false because space is not an alphabetic character. The next interesting thing about a string is you can replace certain words in the string. So you have here Java is easy to learn. If you say replace, you say replace Java with Python, it converts the sentences to Python is easy to learn. So let's run this. As you see, Python is easy to learn. There's another useful function of strings in Python, which is known as the split function. What split does is it essentially splits the entire string based on a delimited character that you pass. So here we pass the space here. So it will just split the entire string into each component divided by space. So here Python and is have a space in between. So Python is one element, is another element. So basically when you are saying divide the string using space, you are saying split the string into its words. Similarly, if you say divide the string for easy, then the string will have two parts. The first part is going to be Python is, then the second part is going to be to learn. Let's run and see this. Python is and to learn. Because this is where you divide the entire string into two columns. Another useful advantage of split function, we know that when we split a string using a space, it gives us all the words in the string. Suppose you want to calculate the number of words, then you can use the length function here, as you see, and inside the parentheses, you split with space. And if you use the length function, this tells you how many words are there in this string, which is 5. So you can add more words here. How are you? And if you run this function, it's going to give you the number of words that are in the string. So these are the basic functions with string. Thank you for watching this video.